I am joined by Andy Pike. Andy is in Hawaii, so thank you so much for joining us so early. I know it's like 7 a.m. for you right now.
Yep, it's all good.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So thank you for being here. We know Andy. Andy is a longtime PreciseFP user. I was actually able to jump on a Zoom with Andy previously and kind of go through his use of PreciseFP, and it's just a whole different use case scenario. So I thought that would be a great time to kind of show exactly how you're using the system and the different softwares that you're using. So, do you want to take a moment and introduce yourself, Andy?
Sure. So again, she said, my name's Andy. I'm a financial advisor in Hawaii. I ended up here. I'm not from here. You can tell because I'm kind of white. I was in the Air Force for 26 years and retired here was my last assignment, and we decided not to leave. So I became a financial advisor. I started with a captive company that focused on military folks only. Did that for 8 years, and then I moved to Cambridge in the independent space in 2010. And I've been using PreciseFP for, I don't know, 3 years anyway. And we're definitely, when she said, not a typical use case, that's kind of normal for me. So you'll find out. We'll talk a lot about automations and kind of how we leverage what PreciseFP can do to make things simple. I am now, effective this week, a solo advisor with about 300 clients. So I think that's enough.
Really
Yeah.
great job.
Thanks.
And I asked this in our Zoom. Your clients are not in Hawaii, most of them, right?
Probably 30 to 40% are not. They live.
Okay.
I'm licensed for securities and that kind of stuff in 31 states because my clients like staying with me when they move. Now some of them are military. Uh, I was a Dave Ramsey Smart Vestor Pro until the first of this month. I had a big thing happen with my company, and I'm taking a bunch of clients back from another advisor. So I exited the Dave Ramsey Smart Vestor program. But yeah, so the vast majority of my clients, well, probably a 60-40 split, somewhere in that range.
Really nice. So
Yeah.
then leads were coming from the Dave Ramsey
Yeah.
Vestor
And
program
referrals from
and
clients.
referrals.
We have a real healthy referral program and that kind of stuff as well.
Really great. And then would you kind of send them a precise FP engagement initially to qualify those
Yeah.
leads or?
No, no. They would, some go to the website, our website, and just put in a contact request. The vast majority of the new leads were coming from Dave Ramsey, and we automate things such that a new lead coming in from Dave Ramsey would get an email and a text automated. Um,
Nice.
it would just go out. It was approved by compliance and all that stuff, and it would just automatically send an email immediately. We set the text messages up to go out during business hours wherever the client was.
Mm.
Because we had some in Tennessee and we had some, most of them were in Hawaii. So we're not waking people up with a text message at 2 o'clock in the morning. Uh,
Right.
and then once a client says, yes, I want to work with you, then I just go in my CRM and say they've hired us. And we use Zapier. If you guys haven't heard of that, it lets you integrate things that normally don't integrate with other applications. And when I click hired in my CRM, it would automatically send them a fact finder we call it a fact finder for onboarding. And so it's the minimum know your client information to get a contract signed. We're not doing anything with investments yet or any other stuff. We have a separate fact finder for that because that's much more in depth. But they get that right away. It's 3 or 4 pages. I can even show it to you guys if you want to see it. It's very short. They can even indicate if they want to transfer accounts right there. And if they say they want to transfer an account, it'll open up a thing where they can actually attach a statement and things like that. So we rely pretty heavily on automation and then PreciseFP.
Really nice. And what
Yeah.
software are you using for the text and email automation?
We're using MyRepChat, which is one
My
of the 2 or 3. I think there's like 3 approved texting solutions for advisors. MyRepChat is one. My Hearsay is another one, or not My Hearsay, but just Hearsay Relate. And then I think there's one from Ring Central. I'm not sure, but we've been using My Rep Chat. It's the most functional, and we can use integrations with it as well.
Okay. So they get the My Rep Chat email or text, and that's kind of directing them to
They
your
get a
website.
text from My Rep Chat. They get an email directly from me.
Okay. And then they could kind of do their due diligence and agree to work with you.
So we meet. So in the
Nice.
email, so a couple things happen when my email goes out. It basically says, hey, uh, I'm a was a smart investor, those kinds of things, and one of the members of my team will contact you. So I have a call specialist who that's basically all she does is she talks to my clients or new
Nice.
people, and she would get them on the schedule. We were doing an automated scheduling thing, but that kind of got a little bit hairy because it was getting me blocked up all day where I couldn't even take a break to eat or do anything else. So
Mm.
we had to kind of scale that back. And I like the personal touch. So having a person call a person, I find much more successful. Now, some clients like it. They click on the link and they schedule and that kind of stuff. So they would get the email, they would schedule, we would do an intro on Teams or Zoom or in person because I have some people here, and then they would decide.
Really great. And then it
Yeah.
goes to your CRM and they're marked as hired. And your CRM is HubSpot, correct?
Correct. And so what I do is I put all my notes in HubSpot and say, hey, I worked with Nora, everything's good, she's going to hire me. And then I just click one thing where we have the stages in HubSpot. HubSpot's a marketing CRM. It's not really meant for financial advisors. But
Okay.
I found this wizard kind of guy whose wife is a very prominent financial advisor at our firm, Cambridge Investment Research,
Yeah.
and he's the one that developed all this stuff. So all this linking and everything else. So what happens is I go in and I look at the person and there's a stage and it says right now they're in the consultation stage. Once I've had the meeting, I just go in and I change the stage to hired, and that fast they're getting an email from PreciseFP. And we've even developed a little PDF that says, hey, here are the steps you're going to go through. And the first step in the check, it's like a little checklist, but it's a checkbox that says hire Andy, right? And we've already checked that off because they've already said they're going to hire me. And then the next step is, and we put even pictures and stuff like that. You're going to get this email, little green target with an arrow in it, and we've got pictures of what the email header looks like, so they know what it is and it's legit. And then we have one for the rest of the steps in the process. That's all automated too. That goes out automatic also.
Yeah, that is so clear and communicative and
Yep.
visual. So I
Yep.
really
And it
like
lets them
it.
know that it's the same thing that the email they're getting, so they don't have to email me and go, "Hey, is this legit? This looks kind of weird."
Yeah, right.
Now they see it from me up front in an email, and they know, hey, these are the steps. These are the things I'm going to see from who I'm going to see them from. So DocuSign, and then we use AdvicePay for subscriptions,
Mm.
and so they see all that. And then when they finish that checklist, it says, okay, now it's time for you to schedule your next steps meeting, and they actually have a link to do that as well.
Okay, great. So they agree to work with you. You have that initial meeting. You send them the PDF, clearly communicating
Nope.
the next,
Oh yeah, the email PDF saying the next steps. Yeah.
yeah, the next
Sorry.
steps, and then no worries. And then
I
they
laugh at
go,
all the advisors. We have a forum for the 4,000 advisors at Cambridge, and I laugh and they go, does
oh,
anybody have a good PDF for data gathering? And I usually put a note in. It's like, check out PreciseFP. PDFs are dead. Um,
oh, the
because
fillable PDF, right?
I haven't done it, but we can actually fill Cambridge forms inside PreciseFP.
Mm.
I haven't done any of that yet, but we have that capability. Uh, so that may be something I look at down the road.
Yeah, definitely. Kristen said she would love to see the form that you do send if you're willing to share.
Absolutely.
Really great. Thank you so much. And I like how you said that, HubSpot is working, even though you say it's kind of just for marketing and having that hired all the way to a precise IP engagement has to be so convenient.
It is. It's very convenient.
Oh, the one all the way up at top, because those ones are the PDF
Oh
ones.
yeah. Okay.
All right. Do you find it here?
And then preview, yeah.
Yep, preview would be best.
Okay, so this is what they get. So they get a quick little note from us at the front. And of course, everybody, you got to have your own disclosures and all that other stuff. Uh, so we just say, hey, when working, we got to gather this information. And this one is short. It's just enough to get the contract. So it's the basic know your client requirements. I don't need their risk tolerance yet. I don't need any of that kind of stuff or who their beneficiaries are. Uh,
Okay.
so they just get an email with a link, and here are the things that we ask them to give us. Okay. I like preferred name because that way when we customize automated emails, I get my name is Andrew. Nobody calls me that unless I'm in trouble. So my preferred name here would be Andy, and that goes into our systems so that when we pull like a birthday card report or something like that, it already says, hey, this is going to go to Andy, not Andrew, or whatever. I got another client whose name is James, and he goes by Bill.
Not
So
correlated, right?
right, so we capture the preferred name, and even if my full name is Andrew and I go by Andrew, we still have them fill that out because we
Okay.
want to know that they've told us what they are. Now, I deal with this quite a bit because I got a lot of folks from all over the world here in Hawaii, and I have I don't
Mm.
know, 3 or 4 that are green card holders. So we put that there. So because if this is the thing I like about PreciseFP. If you click a radio button that requires more information, you click that button and now it's saying, okay, now you have to give us this stuff because you see the little asterisk. That means they have to fill this out. We require that information. Okay.
Really
This is a
nice.
this is a question that my broker asks on their form for non-citizens, and so that's why we put it here for them to answer it. And then they can put a copy of their green card here. They can scan a copy and stick it right here. But if you're a U.S. citizen, you don't even see that stuff, right?
Okay, so it
Um,
looks like you slimmed this down to coordinate exactly what your broker needs and exactly what's know your client
Well,
information.
the know your client is the federal regulations for opening an account
Hmm.
or starting any kind of an advisory contract because we have a subscription. And so the
Okay.
first step for these guys is the subscription. Okay. And so this is going to generate the contract that gives me the legal ability to give them advice and become their financial advisor. And in a
Yeah.
separate step, they handle the subscription online at Advice Pay.
Oh, okay. And Lindsay's asking, did you build this yourself or did
No,
PreciseFP?
no, Lindsay, no, no, no. I wish I could say I did, but I did not. Like I said, there's an advisor in Arizona whose husband is like the Wizard of Oz behind the green curtain. He made all this stuff happen. It was a long, tedious process. It took us, me, another advisor who's now not at the company, but me, him, and this other guy, months to build all this out, to have it follow the forms at Cambridge, do the automations, and all that other stuff. But I can tell you it was worth every minute that we spent and every dollar that we spent. It wasn't terribly expensive, but it was a lot of time. It was a lot of
Mm.
time, but it saved so much more time. It's unbelievable because I don't even get involved in this. Once a client finishes this and they submit it, I get a task in HubSpot and it says, hey, Andy, go validate everything. So I just go look and make sure all the boxes are filled out and that they didn't put an extra 10 zeros on their income or anything like that. And then when I click and say, hey, I validated that everything's good, automations take over and go to my assistant who prepares the contract. And then it's off and running. I never see it again until it's done and their subscription has started and they've scheduled their next steps meeting.
Okay. And we'll have you show the zaps that you guys put together. But did you say that PreciseFP is your true source of information, right? When you need to know something about someone, you go to PreciseFP?
Yes. So I'll either go to my broker's uh, that database, their CRM. Uh, but what we've done is we've decided to uh, keep a client's PII siloed, so there's no PII that's not public in our CRM. So if our CRM got hacked, all they would see is name, address, and phone number, and that's public
Okay.
information for everybody anyway,
Yeah.
right? So we don't have account numbers. If we do account numbers, when I submit a service form, in here in PreciseFP to tell somebody, hey, I need to increase a client's contribution, or they want money out of an account. We redact the account number. So I put in the first 3 digits, I X out the middle 3, and I put in the last 3 so that my team can see exactly which account we're talking about. So, but yeah, so we keep, like, if I need a client social, I'm either going to come here or I'm going to go to my database with my broker.
Okay.
And I'll show them later the profile section where I can see everybody really quickly and easily and that kind of stuff. So, and then this, I'll just talk about this real quick, Nor, because I know you and I have spoken about it. We built the driver's license number stuff because we have to capture a copy. I don't know how we did this, but this is basically, it's going to tell us when the driver's license expires. And it's going to, well, we put in the issue date and the expiration date. This tells us how many months until it expires. We haven't figured it out yet, but we're going to work on something that says, hey, you know, 1 month out or 2 months out, send me a reminder, remind a client that their driver's license is getting ready to expire. Just a little added thing. Haven't figured that part out yet. Haven't put a lot of time on it yet to figure it out, but we're working between, it'll probably be either Zapier looks at it and says, okay, when this box hits a 2, send a trigger and go do something. We don't know about that yet.
So you're conveniently letting them know it's expiring, but then if they did renew it, you need that new
I need the new
information.
one too. Correct. Now, normally what we won't do is I don't think we go back and we try to capture this as soon as it expires. It would be on the next transaction we do. We would see that it's expired and say, oh, by the way, I need to get your, I don't need to see their new driver's license. I just need to get their new issue and expiration dates.
Okay, really nice. I love
If
that
that makes sense.
addition.
Yep. So then we can put employment. Obviously, we can put in more than one. And it just asks for the different things. Are you full? Are you self-employed? Annual income. Used to be we had to ask for their employer name and address for the employer, but all that federal regulation changed. We don't have to capture that anymore. So we took it out. We try not
Okay.
to ask. We try not to ask for information that we don't need or that we don't need.
Yeah.
It just saves the client. It saves us.
Yeah, so you don't need it for
Right.
the next step, so you don't gather it at all.
Right. So a pension comes up and you can see we can put notes. It says this is only if you're currently receiving this pension. Like for me, I get an Air Force retirement check. So I would list this and go in here and I would just say Air Force retirement and put in, you know, my annual amount, $40,000, whatever the number is. Okay. So people can add their social security because that's a source of income, but they're not working. So they can leave the employment out, right? Just by not checking it. So this would be a retiree now, right? And then, so the other pension I would add, you know, just call, you know, say Social Security, 40,000, just making up numbers here. Okay. And then if I click other, that's just free flow. So then I can say rental property. I can do other and go trust income distributions, $5,000 a year. Something like that. Now in the background for all you folks, PreciseFP is doing some math already. There's already math being done for this person if they were an actual client. I'll show you an actual client where you see this kind of stuff, but that's what's happening in the background. So when I go to the profile section of PreciseFP and I look at a client's income, I'm going to see $85,000. It's already done.
Really nice. I love
Yep.
that.
Yep. So here, I'll just leave that because I can just cancel it after. Oh, we're in the template. I can't do that, can I? I got to get rid of it all. Right?
Yeah, we're in a preview, so
It won't save it. Okay.
no, it won't save it.
Okay. And then we just have them fill this out. Okay, yep, I got checking and savings, I got a taxable investment account, and I got college funds. Every one you click opens up its own section. See that? And so I can add. So if they have 3 kids, I can just go here and say I got to add 2 more college funds. And it just add the same set of blanks and that kind of stuff. Notice, so this is a bank account, but notice this taxable investment account. As soon as I clicked it, it's also asking for the cost basis. We don't have to have that. I usually don't put it in. If it's on a statement, then I'll put it in, that kind of stuff. But here's the question. Are you transferring this account? If they say no, Nothing happens. If they say yes, give us a copy of a statement. And they can just drag and drop a statement right here.
Very convenient.
Yep. Same thing with the, oh, these ones just ask us for the statement, right? So, and you can have as many accounts. I have a client the other day that was in, she's got 8 checking accounts, and I'm like, dude, we
Wow.
got to get you down. We got to get you down to 1. We got to figure that stuff out. That's just way too many. I can't even keep track of it.
That's my first piece of advice. We're going from 8
Yeah,
to
and that's
1.
free, and that's free advice. Okay, so here we just kind of capture the most common types of accounts that we deal with, right? So they can do a 401k or TSP. I work with a lot of military and a lot of federal employees. TSP is a thrift savings plan, if you don't know, and that's the 401k for military and for federal employees. So then if they have a TSP account, they can click if they're military or civilian, because that's the way the military, or that's the way TSP handles things.
Really great. So knowing your audience, you adapted the form,
Yeah, because we
knowing
could
a
have just said
certain.
401k, but some clients would go, yeah, I don't have a 401k, I have TSP, and it's like, that is a 401k. It's, you know, it's a retirement plan that the government helps contribute to, and it has indexed investments and all that other stuff. So we did it that way for the 401k, and we did a Roth 401k or TSP, because a lot of people are focusing on Roth now instead of traditional. So same thing, it'll ask this. Now we ask for the beneficiary here. I'm probably going to remove that because I don't need the beneficiary right now. They're going to do that on their fact finder when we get to the detailed one with the investments. But we have it there. Sometimes they leave it blank. You can see it's also not mandatory because it doesn't have an asterisk. We haven't made it mandatory.
Yep.
Uh, so I had other people, one guy put other, and he goes, I don't know. It's like, yeah, we got to fix that because you need to know.
Yeah, right.
Right?
That's important.
So these are the primary ones. Between this page and back here, we're going to cover just about every kind of business asset. If you own a business or you have a business owner and they have, like they want to put their retained earnings in here or whatever. But taxable investment account, that counts any kind of non-qualified account, a trust account, any of that stuff. I had a guy put other and listed 5 collectible cars worth about 800 grand combined. So
Wow.
we don't really deal with net worth on the financial advice side of this, like the Cambridge side. They don't ask for a client's net worth. They ask for net investable assets. And because he's not planning to sell the cars, that number's not included.
Okay. Got it.
Right.
So
And so
even
once
though
they
you
finish
put it,
this,
you won't include it.
yep. Once they finish filling all these out, they're done.
Nice.
Now we had a link for them to schedule their next steps meeting, but we stopped that. Now Angie's my contact specialist. She gets a notice that says, hey, they finished. Call them to set up a next steps meeting.
Okay. And that'll be a physical meeting to review everything, and then you'll send
Yep.
the more detailed fact finder.
Yep.
And the fact finder that you mentioned will go out next will be pre-filled with the information that you gathered in this one.
Yes. And that's the beauty because they're like, another one? It's like, yeah, but everything you've already given me is already in there.
Yep.
Because now I got to collect all the kids and their socials and their birthdays and all the other stuff that I need for the entire overall financial plan that I'm going to work on or whatever accounts we're going to work on. Do you want to go
Yeah.
there next or do you want to stop for questions? What do you want to do?
Yeah, we can go to that one next, just to finish off the flow.
Okay. This one, I tend to offer clients to meet with me to do it. Some of them, it's uh, a lot more detailed, especially my older clients. Now you'll notice it says 2023. That's just the last revision to the form that we made.
Okay, nice. It's like a set it, make it and forget it.
Yeah. So like my form that I use for like if a client calls and says, "Hey, I want to make a contribution for 2024," that one's dated 2024 because we made changes to it last year. This is one of my favorite parts. So we're all familiar with all the disclosures we have to send, right? So here's what we've done because we don't have to email clients this stuff. and you can have the link on your website, we put it here. So this is the first thing they see, and they're going to accept, or they're going to acknowledge that they've received the disclosures. These are hot links to the actual disclosures. The last time I checked, they were working. Let me see if it is. Yep. So this is the current one from my client, from my broker's website. So they always get the current information. So if they change, like my supervisor, it'll already be there. It won't be outdated.
That is
Um,
so pretty. I love this.
this is one of my favorite parts because that whole
Yeah.
disclosure thing's a pain in the butt anyway.
Hmm.
So we put everything here. We put links to each one. So the ADV2, the CRS for advisory, and the CRS for commissions. And we gave them a little explanation of each one. Okay. And I can tell you how many questions I get, and the answer is 0. Now, I'm
Nice.
sure some of that means that clients aren't really paying much attention. They're clicking the box to just keep moving, just like all the terms of agreement with your phone and apps and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but it's all right there. It meets the mail. It's all been compliance approved. Uh, and once they click the box, they've accepted it. So we're good
Really
there.
great.
Yep.
Yeah, so if those forms exist on the web somewhere, you could just make it,
Yeah, it's just a
a
link. It's
button.
just a link to our the Cambridge website.
Hmm.
I don't think it's hosted outside of that. Well, let me look. I'll tell you.
But I like it because the client is getting one link that has all the 15 links or whatever.
Yeah. Ooh, page not found. That's good. Gotta check on that one. I know this one works. Oh, it's going to HubSpot. So we're hosting the forms on HubSpot.
Okay.
Look at the URL. They're hosted on HubSpot.
Okay. And then they're agreeing. I agreed. I reviewed just like every other, like you
Yep. We
mentioned,
confirm.
software.
And notice it's IWE, so there's not a separate one for the spouse. Because remember, with PreciseFP, the primary person is the one that receives these. The secondary person has access to it, but they don't actually get an email. I don't think they do. Nora, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but I think only one of them gets the initial email to go and fill it out.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, usually it's one person that'll do it.
yep,
So,
yep, yep. And so we always make the first the primary contact always goes in that first position in PreciseFP because they're the ones handling all the money and they're the ones that are going to get this stuff done. But yeah, notice it says I, we. So if they're married, it covers both of them.
really great.
Yep. One of my favorite things. It's kind of not a huge deal, but when you think about the time savings of people having to send emails or people printing these forms out for somebody or whatever, we've killed that before it even becomes an issue with the vast
Yeah.
majority, right?
Yeah, and
Now this,
regulation wise,
yep,
it's the most
yep.
important.
So
So,
all of this will be filled out except for this. Sometimes this doesn't come over, but that's it.
okay, so what we're looking at now is
This is my
information from
form.
the
Now
other
we're going to go on
form.
to, yeah. We're going to go on to opening up investment accounts.
Okay, perfect.
So
So
that's
this
why
is
we
all
call this fact
pre-filled.
finder. You see, it's called a fact finder for new investment accounts.
Yep.
And if a
Awesome.
client, and this is something that I don't do very often, but the other advisor did it, we can do what's called a limited fact finder. So if a client said, hey, I forgot to give you something, I think, is it over here? Yeah. We can
Oh,
go in
no.
here and go, they forgot to give us their beneficiaries. So I can click this, they'll get a limited fact finder. It'll just be the beneficiary page. It won't be all this stuff again. So we've used that fairly infrequently, but it's there so they don't have to trudge through the whole 11 pages of this. Notice the other one
Right.
was only really 4 pages, 3 if you count the title and the last page. This
Hmm.
is a lot more because we're going to get into trusted contact, we're going to get into beneficiaries, we're getting all that stuff in here.
Yep. Yeah, and Lindsay's asking, so this second questionnaire goes out before or after your initial meeting? And this is after the second
This
meeting,
is
right?
so, Lindsay, what we've done is at this point, we have gotten hired. They started their subscription, so they got that first fact finder. They've signed the contract. They've set up their subscription, so they're all lined up with that. They've set their next steps meeting, and that meeting with me is okay. What are we going to do about all these accounts? You need to roll these over. You're going to leave them where they are. We're going to reallocate them, but leave them, whatever they decide. So that in this instance, They're telling me, hey, I'm going to do a rollover with you, or I've got 4 rollovers with you. My record's 8 with one client. 6. I take that back, 6 with husband and wife. But so what happens is now, because we're going to open an investment account and they've said they're moving this account to me, now I've got to gather all this information. So that's where we are. Did that answer the question, Lindsay?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out to make sure
Okay.
if she responds.
Okay. Same thing. So now we click children, any
All
other family
right.
members. I have a lot of younger clients, so they're going to name their parents as a beneficiary. So they've got to put their parents here so that I can name them as a beneficiary, and it's going to ask them for all the information. Okay. If they have a
Okay.
trust, they have a trust. Now we can add as many children as we need, and this is the information I need on all the kids. Now, if the client's already given me their address, okay, now where does this child live? The addresses that are populated anywhere in the system are going to pop up here and say, okay, which one of these is that address? If it's not one, then I just add the new one.
Love
Okay.
that.
Right. And you can add as many and as many as you need, whatever other family members. This again would be like a younger child naming an adult parent, or they live in the house and that person's going to become a client too, but they're like the father or the mom or whatever.
Hmm.
And so we ask the relationship and all that, and then the trusts. So this is again same thing. Does the trust already exist? Yes. What's the name of it? Does it use the social, or does it have its own ID number? When was it established? What address is associated, which is usually the primary address of the person that made the trust, and then a copy of their short form or certificate. See, we can put notes everywhere. On all these boxes, we can put little notes for the client. Please enter testamentary trust if applicable, because a testamentary trust is something that happens after a client passes. It's something they put in their will.
Got it.
So this is pretty straightforward, this page.
Yep, and it's going to adjust. You're not
Right.
just throwing questions on the page. The questions appear based on
Correct.
the check marks.
Yep. So same here. Now we've got all those people added. So let's say this is a younger client. He's got his mom and dad and his sisters and brothers all listed because they're beneficiaries or whatever. Now we're going to ask him about his trusted contact. We're required to ask, this is a federal regulation, if a client wants to name a trusted contact for each individual account that they open. They can decline, okay? But if they say yes, then we need their information. And it's the first thing it's going to do is it's going to look down at everybody we added already. So we added mom and dad for this young guy, and we
Yeah.
added his brother who's a beneficiary, and he says mom is going to be my trusted contact. So I'm going to find mom here because she's already been added to the system. I'm going to click here and move on.
Clients must love that.
And then same thing, add co-client. So if they're married, just click here and it's going to add the co-client and say, okay, if it's a
Who do
husband
they
and wife
want?
situation, because they can have different trusted contacts if they want,
Hmm.
right? It's really easy for us
Yeah.
because again,
And I
now
like
my,
how you put we have to ask and you defined it too. So it's
yeah,
very clear and
yeah,
communicative as well.
right. But we also say you don't have to. Notice we didn't say you have to name. You may decline to
Okay.
name them. They don't have to name one. We have to ask. So,
Okay.
and then beneficiaries. You want to name a beneficiary? Yes. And we're going to say yes. And what's cool is I'm going to just show you this. It's easier to show you. So I'm going to say Andy, sibling. Get over there. All the relationships are usually in a drop down. So other person, put in, the address and all that, date of birth of the trust. That's not a trust. Wait a minute. But notice this box. Okay, so what it's going to do, it's going to say, what's the allocation percentage to Andy? And we'll say 50%. Okay, now when I come down here, it's going to say, hey, wait a minute, it's red.
Oh,
You've only named a primary beneficiary for half of your IRA.
yeah.
So now we get the big red warning, warning, warning sign. And if we put 100 as soon as we click, it's like, okay, good. You've now, it's valid. You've named 100% for your primary beneficiary.
That is nice. I like that. I don't know if everyone else is very happy with that, but it just adds an extra touch of visual to the whole process.
And it lets them know they've done it. Now, what I
Hmm.
run into, because the system won't, I haven't figured out a way yet, A lot of parents will name their 2-year-old children as beneficiaries, which is really bad
Oh
because
no.
minors are incapacitated by their minority, and it's a real mess. So I have to go back to clients and say, look, you need to name an adult. You can't have your kids. Um, I was thinking about, and this is something that I'm going to probably have my IT guys look at when we name them. If I have their date of birth, if it makes them less than 18, I'm going to see if I can have this thing pop up and say this person is ineligible to be a beneficiary. Technically, they're not
Oh,
ineligible. You can name whoever you want. It's just
yeah.
going to be a nightmare with the state that you're living in and all that other
Mhm.
stuff. So I always go back and have them name an adult. And I've never had a client not do that after we've had that conversation. But I like that this does the math for us.
Yeah.
So here, I said, yes, I want to name a contingent. This is saying you haven't done anything yet. And one thing also, if you see anything with this asterisk, if that's not filled out, when they go to finish, it won't let them finish. It'll take them back to the page where there's incomplete information.
Hmm.
So employment, if you click this, it'll pull up what was already in the system.
Okay.
That'll already be there. Uh, Same thing, the income types. Same thing, assets. As you start clicking these, all these will open up, and all the information that they put in on the first one will start popping up here. So if I click on the college accounts, all the college funds that I added, all the IRAs, the checking accounts, the statement, all that. All they have to
Mhm.
do is click the box, and they'll see this other stuff populate.
Really great.
Yep. And I can show you on a live person too if you guys want to see that after we get done kind of with this part. Same thing here. We have to get their expenses, their annual expenses. That's another know your client requirement for an investment account. It's not a know your client requirement for a contract for advice. And then we also have to ask them if they have an upcoming special expense, like something in the next 2 years or 5 to 10 years or whatever.
Okay.
Again, another one. This is my broker's provided risk questionnaire. So I tend to use this because it's easier. So
Yeah.
it follows the questionnaire word for word. And as you click here and you pick which one you want, it's calculating their risk score. Now it tells me this person's aggressive. And now my team doesn't have to do anything but come down here and go, oh, aggressive. And they can put aggressive in the system so that my recommendation matches their risk tolerance.
Okay. So what we're seeing here is a second questionnaire that you're sending that will be pre-filled from the information from the first questionnaire. And it's one link that has your ADV, it has the risk tolerance, it has all the accounts, the beneficiaries, all in one link.
Yes. Yes.
Really great. And what would you say is the kind of success rate? Like, how often are people filling it out from beginning to end? Do you have to nudge them a little bit?
They get the automatic reminder. So I don't have clients that I've got clients that procrastinate and all that other stuff. But once
Hmm.
they get in there, I would say my success rate's well above 90% the first shot.
Wow, that's
Because most people are
wonderful.
fairly tech savvy. I have some older clients that, or like I have a lady that's dealing with uh, taking care of her mom. Her husband just died, and she
Mm.
wants me to take over her accounts. I said, why don't we just meet and I'll fill it out with you sitting here and you just give me the information. And so we did
Okay.
that.
So
We did
most
that.
commonly they're filling it out themselves, but you will take time to fill it out on
Oh,
behalf
absolutely,
of the client.
absolutely.
Okay.
I wouldn't do it with every. I don't have to do it with everybody because most everybody, like I said, most everybody's comfortable with technology,
Hmm.
right? I would say my average client is probably in their 30s, 40s, in that range. I mean, I have them all over the spectrum, but the
Yep.
vast majority are tech savvy enough uh, to get this thing filled out because it's pretty straightforward,
Yeah.
right? But I'll tell you, in a couple of appointments where I did this with a client, I uncovered other assets that they had forgot about.
Oh, yeah, that'll happen, right?
And usually, what happens with assets you find that they forgot, they
Or
move those.
expenses, I'm sure. They're
No,
like,
they move those assets to you.
mm,
oh, Andy, yeah, I forgot I got this other IRA out here sitting out here. There's 100 grand in there. What should I do with it? It's like, well, put it in here and let's move it. And they're like, yeah, cool. So I don't use it for that benefit, but I've had that happen once or twice.
Yeah, really great. And do you happen to have Zapier available to kind of look at those zaps that are set up for the automations?
Let me see if I can get in there. I do not have it.
Okay,
I can get it.
because
I think I can log in.
like
I don't
Andy's
really know a
saying,
lot about what I'm looking at, but I can log in and see.
yeah, a lot of what is happening is automated, guys. Everything is happening in the background, but him and a consultant did meet to set up most of the items. That's why we're kind of saying we might not know what we're looking at, but it's there happening.
Okay, let me look. I gotta get a different password. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Take your time. Sounds good. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw those in. Lindsay is just clarifying, who helped you build this out? Is it a consultant? And you said it was someone in
It's the
Arizona?
husband of a financial advisor in Arizona. He was a business consultant. He left to help her run her massive business. She's got a huge business. Um, and let me see here now. I got to figure out how to do this. So, I don't know what happened there. Hold on. Are you?
Oh, right now I still see PreciseFP's fact finder for new investment accounts.
Okay, yeah, I'm working on that share.
Okay.
So I need to. So in here, do I need to unshare this and then go get the
Yeah.
share one?
Yeah, there'll be the share button.
Okay,
It'll
got it.
ask you what you want to share now.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, I don't use this very often.
All right, now we see Zapier.
Okay, so uh,
Oh, there we
these are the
go.
figures. Anything. This is the precise FP target. So you can see we have 11 Zaps
Wow.
that we use just with this financial consultation. We have this one. This one creates a HubSpot contact. See that? And there's 12
Yeah.
different things going on in the background. That one's turned off right now because we probably replaced this one with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this was just published 7 days ago. So if you open this up, you can see each one. So
Oh,
this is what it
wow.
looks like in the background.
So a new form engagement will find an account based on specific conditions and then create a contact in HubSpot
Or update the contact.
or update.
Yeah, both.
Okay, so
This is sending a text message. I think that's what this is. And now it's going to create a household in HubSpot, and it's going to update the contact. It's going to create my first deal. So HubSpot, because it's a marketing CRM, it's going to create a deal, and the deal is really a new client.
mm,
That's the definition of a deal. A new investment account is a deal. Now I could do multiple investment accounts under one deal, but it's going to create this that says, okay, Andy Pike just hired us. That's all finished. Now he wants to open up a Roth IRA and a college account and a trust account. That could all be in this one deal because I can have more than one action under each deal. And now it's going to associate that with anything else in the client. This is all HubSpot stuff. So it uses association. So if I make a note, I can make that note and associate it to the deal, to a ticket, to a task, that kind of stuff. And so
yeah,
you can see it's going to do all of this stuff all in the background, all in the
yeah,
background.
yeah. You essentially created your own integration with this. And if you count that, that's like 6 or 7 things that you do not have to do. You do not have to,
11.
copy the text in, send
It's
out the
11.
text. Oh, 11.
Yeah. And then here's our service form. So we didn't go over this yet. And I don't know how much time we have, but so the service form is I meet with a client and they say, hey, Andy, I want to get money out of an account. Or they call me and say, I need to get money out of an account. Okay,
Yeah.
well, how do I get that into any system so that my team can track to make sure it gets done? So what I do is I come into PreciseFP and we built this service form. And if you want me to take you back there and show you that, I can show you. But what it does is I put in the information and I say, hey, Nora wants to get $1,000 from her trust account, and I can put all the information in there. And when I close that ticket, it sends it automatically to HubSpot. And now it's assigning tasks to different team members based on what we've built inside.
Yeah, I love your service form. Do you want to share that one real quick?
Sure.
And that has a bunch of zaps associated with it as well. So it's automatically tagging who on your team needs to take care of that specific item. So this is kind of ongoing support. Everything gets documented, so clients aren't just, verbally giving requests. You're able to document it through this service form. So I think that'll be really nice to share.
And you have not seen this one because we've made a lot of changes to it.
Oh, okay.
So to
Yeah, a lot of the things you've
make it
been
even
making
easier for
changes
me,
to.
because for me, it's about, because I got 300 clients, I can't do all the service and all the other stuff. So we went over the form with a fine tooth comb and said, okay, that doesn't really apply. Let's get rid of that and stuff like
Mm,
that. Okay. So we have all these different these are the major things that we do for a client. So if you see requested account maintenance, now this is what the form looks like. There's nothing there, right? When I click requested account maintenance, it opens up and says, okay, what are the primary things you're going to want to do? Change an email address. Well, change phone numbers or last name if somebody gets married, yes. And when you click it, it'll open up whatever we need. So if I'm going to do two things, it's going to open those up. If it's going to do all of these, it'll open each one up, and I can do all this in one ticket. See that? And then I put in the client a title for it. This advisor is going to be gone. What this does, if you're in a multiple advisor situation, this
yeah.
now, the zap would go to Caleb for action and not to me. It would go to
Okay.
his team basically for action. So he would fill this out. He would fill it out and put his name here. But when this does this, this knows who to send it. The zap knows who to send this to. Okay. So that's requested
Okay.
account. Deposit to an investment account. So this is a client calling saying, hey, I got $5,000 in my savings account, move it over to my investment. Pretty straightforward. Just what's the account number? So I go, it'll look like that. $5,000. Source of funds. We have an existing standing payment instruction, or we need to do a new one. If it's the existing, we just click it and move on. So if the bank account on the if the bank account on the investment account hasn't changed, we just click that button and move on. And then I'll put a note in here, Nora has surplus to move into her trust account. And we're done. And I have to click finish, and then I have to click close. And when I click close, that's what sends it over to HubSpot.
Okay.
So that's the deposit. Withdrawal is just the opposite, same information. Okay, but now it's going to ask a couple of different questions. Hey, Andy, is this an IRA? If I say no, doesn't do anything. If I say
Mm.
yes, this is a change. Now it's like, okay, is it a Roth or is it a traditional? Well, it's a Roth. Okay, no more questions. Why would I want to know traditional? Because now it's going to ask me, do they want a gross or net? And if I say it's a net, now it's going to ask me what taxes do they want? Tax withholding. None or withhold. If I click withhold, now it opens up. What do they want for federal? What do they want for state?
Wow.
From account, what type of distribution? One time, required RMD, whatever those things are. And then same thing, how's the money supposed to get dispersed? So new account, this is the one where Nora has hired me and I got to go open a new account for Nora. So I go
Mm.
click in here and go new account. Now it's going to open up. Okay, first question that I get asked is it an advisory account? Is it going to be a fee-based account or is it going to be a commission? Okay, if it's advisory, it's going to ask us what company on the platform. These are the main four that I use. Okay, what platform are we going to use, or what asset manager? I'm going to use American Funds. Now it knows all the
Okay.
models, so I just picked whatever model I want.
Wow, really nice. So you customize it for every single type of account.
at every company.
Every company, yes.
Yep.
Wow.
So for every company, so like if I go to Nuveen, now it's going to say here are the Nuveen models that we can use if a client's interested in an ESG model. I don't have very many of those, but it's there. Okay. Then we get the account type drop down, pretty much all the different types, the major types. Source of funds. Now we've got a transfer of assets in here because they're going to transfer an account. How much are we expecting? And then my notes. So that's a new account. Incoming transfer to an existing account isn't much different. It's a little slightly different. Contributions. This is their monthly contribution. Now Nora wants to increase her Roth IRA to 583. We just go in and stick all the money. When's it supposed to start? Monthly. No change to the existing date if she's already got a date picked, but she's just increasing the amount. Right? Or she wants to change the date, then we can change the date. And when's the first contribution that the new amount's supposed to go? Client termination. We did this only because we have to track these.
Okay.
And I don't use these very often, obviously. And then for my advisory, for my clients that are in a portfolio and we want to change the portfolio, I do quite a bit of this. Now what I can do is just come in here and do all the work right here. I can tell them it's a direct account. We have models that we built at American Funds. So I can just go in here and say, I'm using QB100 growth, and my team knows exactly what funds in what percentages to put on the applications.
Yeah.
And then if it's cap, it's the same thing. It's going to bring up this stuff, and it's going to bring up which model, and it's going to bring the models up again.
That is nice.
Yep.
Kristen's asking, is the client filling this out or is a staff member
The
filling
client
this?
never sees this.
Okay.
Client never sees this. This is internal to me. This is how I tell my team, hey, this is stuff that needs to go get worked on.
Oh, okay. So you talk to me. I said I want to increase my contributions. You fill this out, and it kind of goes to your staff.
It goes into HubSpot, and it gets assigned to one primary person, and then
Yeah.
either I can go in and assign it, or that person can go in and say, oh, I'm not doing these. This is another team member that does those, so she'll just reassign it.
Yep.
We're going to be able, now that Caleb's going to be gone, this is kind of a weird thing with HubSpot, is now that Caleb's not going to be here, I'll be able to pick each team member myself.
Okay.
It'll
Yeah,
say,
so
so
it
I'll be
kind of makes me,
the primary advisor is going away because we only have one now. But I'd be able to
yeah.
go in here and say, which team member is this task for? And I'll just be able to drop down and put Tanya or Lay or Tamara or whichever one of my team is going to do it. Or if I assign it to myself,
Yep.
right?
Okay, so this is an internal process that we built a
Yeah,
PreciseFP engagement for, and items are getting delegated out right from this form.
correct. And the Zap to HubSpot.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. It kind of reminds me of a template inside of a CRM, maybe an activity template in
And now
Redtail.
HubSpot's like all workflow based and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I will tell you that this was painful for me because I just, hey, go make it happen. Show me how to use it. I'm off and running. But the language became very different, deals and tickets. Because I keep saying, I'm going to submit a ticket in PreciseFP. Nope, that's a service form. The service form generates a ticket in HubSpot because I have to adapt to their language, right?
Oh,
The
in
HubSpot
Zapier.
language. Yeah. So HubSpot
Got it.
uses tickets. They don't use service forms. So that's just a minor thing, but this is absolutely probably the best money I spend on tech because it saves us so much time, all of us. It saves us so much time.
That is awesome. I love
And
that.
no, she's not paying me to say that.
I'm like, wait,
So
hold on. Lindsay did have another question. Do either of us have any names of consultants that would be willing to help build these out? We do it ourselves right now and we're on the right track, just don't have time. I'm going to paste a LinkedIn uh, post to you. This is a list that I've seen be gathered by someone in the industry that kind of goes through just a bunch of consultants that do help. So that is an option. I don't name this video or kind of tasking them with. I think I like it. I like to think of it as being easier thinking of your end goals. So Andy's end goal is to, have everything delegated with all the information that they need in one single ticket. and then you probably worked backward from that and said,
Yep.
okay, what does
Yep.
the operations team need to know, or where does it need to go, and
Yep.
um, kind of helps doing that.
Yep.
And
And they get a
then,
very in HubSpot, they get a very detailed. They don't see the form, but they get a very detailed note that says, "Hey, Andy created this service form. Here's exactly what Andy put in there, and here's what he wants."
yeah.
Um, but for me, it's got to be integrated. It's got to be able to automate and no paper.
Okay. And so
Because
you don't have,
there was another SmartVestor here who
yeah.
sent a PDF to his client. It was 13 pages long.
Woo, a
And I
fillable
said, "How much of that
PDF?
have you filled out?" He goes, "I didn't." And I went, "Okay." He ended up hiring me, not because of that, but people don't want to fill out a big long paper form when they can sit at their computer. And that first one, literally, if you kind of have your act together and know what's going on with your family and stuff, that thing doesn't even take 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah, for
The
sure.
second one's a little bit longer because you're gathering statements and you're dragging statements onto the form and all the other stuff. But a lot of times, what they'll do is they'll stop and I'll check it because I get a task that says, "Hey, go validate what they've submitted." And I'll go look, and if it's not done, I'll go in and then I'll just text them or call them and say, "Hey, if you can send me this one statement, I'll finish this thing for you."
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. The
Wow,
thing I
yeah.
like
And
also is it's not letting me forget to ask the questions I need to ask because
yes,
it's all right
that's
there.
important. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm kind of
It's,
scattered in case you haven't noticed. And I can chase a squirrel down a rabbit hole in a flat second. This keeps me on this keeps me on track to make sure we're asking for all the right information. So that by the time it gets
yeah.
to my team's not going back to a client going, "Hey, I need X."
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. Almost
Okay.
never. Almost never.
Nice. That's high service
Because
quality right there.
here's what they do. They hold me accountable. When I click the box that says I validated it, it better be right. And my team knows to give me a hard time if there's something missing, and I validated it. So
Wow,
there's
that's
pressure on me to make
awesome.
sure I can. But yeah, it's a very smooth process both for clients and for team,
Hmm.
uh, because now they can just get right in whatever system and go open whichever account they need to get open, and all that's automated too. So there's
Yeah.
some manual entry and stuff like that, but this is the only way I'll do business.
Yeah, I agree. It's a beautiful way. And just one more question saying you don't have workflows within the CRM you're using. They're using
Oh,
Wealthbox.
absolutely, I do.
Okay.
There's a ton of ton of workflows, tons
Oh,
inside uh, HubSpot. Now,
well, Andy, thank you so much for going through all this with us.
my
I
pleasure.
am so
My pleasure.
appreciative. I know it's awesome. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day,
You guys
guys.
have a great day. God bless. We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.